Welcome back to the Crooked Pigs BBQ YouTube channel. It's been a minute since we dropped a video. We've been hitting the competition circuit really hard this year. We've been having a great time, cooking a lot of comps, really trying to get ourselves in the jack draw again this year. We haven't had an opportunity to do that yet, but we've had some really good success so far this season. Initially, we hit the competition circuit earlier than we thought we might. We were waitlisted for the spring fair with Barbecue USA and the Food Network following it, and we made it off the wait list into the competition. So at the last minute, we got things together. We hit the competition circuit and started our season early. We've been off to a bit of a rough start, but now we've had some success. It's been building. We don't have a bung in the jack draw yet, but we wanted to give you guys an update of where we're at, what's been going on, and then talk about some of the videos we're shooting for you all to learn exactly how to cook competition barbecue the way Crooked Pigs cooks it. At Spring Fair, again, I said it was our first competition of the season. We got off to a rough start, didn't have the success we wanted to. We did have some calls there, but as the season progressed here at Coos Bay, we picked up a perfect score in ribs, which if you're not familiar with KCBS, a perfect is pretty tough to get. In KCBS, they drop the lowest judge's score, and if your remaining scores are all perfect, that's a perfect score. But if your drop score is also perfect, that's a perfect. We managed to swing one of those on our ribs at Coos Bay, Oregon. It was a great comp. We did well, finished third overall, put some money in the bank, and got to keep pounding the circuit. So we're going to do a video on our perfect ribs, teach you how we pick those ribs, what brand we use, how we trim those, how we season them up, how we cook them, and how we finish those ribs for the box. We're going to drop a video on that here today. Also, as the season has progressed, we headed down to Utah. We cooked in a KCBS comp there. Got the highest score we've ever got in a KCBS comp, a 704. We got a 700 pin, but it wasn't good enough to win at that comp. But our good friends from Girls Can Grill managed to get the GC there and hopefully the jack bung. And I think that she's excited to head out to the competition circuit. Now, I mentioned Christy and Girls Can Grill. She sent us all 4 of her own rubs, which I know she's using on the circuit. She's had some real success with those rubs. So we've got all 4 of those ready to go. We're going to do some rub demos and some reviews, tell you what we like, what we don't like, what we would use them for, what we wouldn't use them for. We're going to drop a video on that. Also, this coming weekend, we'll be cooking at Radiator Supply House in Sweet Home, Oregon. It's the richest competition really on the West Coast. There's $40,000. It pays cash money, all $2 bills. It's a really fun competition. There's great music. There's fireworks. The whole event is around a pond at the Radiator Supply House factory. We're really excited. He's got great crew and staff there. They really roll out the red carpet for us. We're really excited to get going and doing that competition. So like I said, that's this coming weekend. So we've got some things to do to get ready. We got to make injections, got to trim some more chicken, we got to pick some more competition meat. So we're going to show you exactly what we're doing as we're getting ready, so you can get some tips and tricks and see exactly what goes into this competition game. But first of all, we're going to head to Walmart. We're going to pick out some Smithfield ribs. As you all know, we cook Smithfield extra tender ribs at competition. That's what got us our perfect score. So we're going to head to the store. We're going to take the camera. We're going to show you exactly what it is we're looking for in comp ribs, what we're not looking for, and how we decide what the best rack of ribs is to cook in your backyard, or in our case, on the competition circuit. So let's load up the camera, let's head to Walmart, and let's see what we can find. In the pickup here, we're heading to Walmart. We're gonna select some meat. Guess I need to put my seatbelt on just for safety reasons, and my cameraman's gonna sling his on here too. If you guys don't know, my cameraman is Josh. He's my cousin. He comes with us on the comp. He's an integral part of the team. Just thought we'd explain just who's behind the camera here. Anyway, we're heading off to Walmart. We're picking ribs. We're also going to look for a couple of pork butts if they've got any. As far as pork butts go, I'll cook commodity pork. It doesn't matter to me what kind of pork I'm cooking, as long as I like the way the money muscles look. But with ribs, we cook the Smithfield extra tenders. There's a lot of guys on the circuit cooking the Prairie Fresh pork, and we've cooked the Prairie Fresh pork, and we'll cook it if we find good Prairie Fresh. But we don't like to inject our ribs. I feel like unless you've got just the perfect rack of Prairie Fresh, you've got to inject those. And so we like the Smithfield ETs. They are pre-injected. Some people think they taste hammy. We don't. I think the pre-injected butts taste hammy, but the pre-injected ribs don't. I prefer a solution. They've already got the phosphates there. So we're gonna go look for our Smithfields. That's what got us that perfect. We've been cooking Smithfield ETs for a number of years. We don't plan on changing that anytime soon. I think that you've got an opportunity to pick through piles of ribs when you can find them at Walmart's. In summertime, generally they're going to have stacks, 20, 30, 40 racks of ribs we can dig through. You can pick through either the spares or the St. Louis cuts. So we don't, we like to be able to pick. We like to look for straight bones, nice thick ribs, good marbling, those sorts of things. And so I'd rather do that than order, say, Compart Durox or you know, go to a brand where we can't look through piles of ribs. The other advantage we find is that the Smithfield ETs are available throughout all of the Western United States. Anywhere on this side of the Mississippi, for the most part, at a Walmart, we can find the ribs we're looking for. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to head to a couple of Walmarts. We're going to see what we can find. We're going to show you what we like, what we don't like, maybe pick some ribs that we're going to take to comp. At very minimum, we're going to find some ribs that we can cook today and show you guys how we got that perfect rib score. So, all right, we're here at Walmart. We're going to head inside, see what we can find for Smithfield ribs. Let's get after it. All right, we're heading in. Let's try not to get hit by a minivan here. All right, it's been kind of hit and miss here at this Walmart, whether they've got a lot of ribs or not. We'll see what we can find. There's a few more Walmarts in the area, so we'll keep looking if we don't find what we're looking for here. No sense in settling on meat that's not competition quality. So let's get ourselves a cart just in case we, well, let's not get ourselves a cart. As it turns out at Walmart today, there aren't any. So let's just keep on going. All right, as with every trip to Walmart, I head straight to the meat section. You have to go through that produce section, unfortunately, but we'll get ourselves to the meat. Took a left here. All right, it looks like they've got a pretty good stack of ribs going here, so we'll have lots to choose from, hopefully. Yeah, thinner than I thought, as a matter of fact. We've got one rack of ribs here. I usually don't like to get these closeout ribs. They're starting to been in the cryo pretty long. Well, I'll show you some ribs that we do like, though. These Salmon Creek Farms ribs from, they're actually an Idaho product from Falls brand in Twin Falls, Idaho. They are super marbled, but as you can see, there's a couple shiners in these, and they're usually a little thinner than what we like. They're not injected. I don't cook these at comp, but man, if you could find these where you're at home, like look at this rack, holy smokes, look how marbled that is. But they're usually kind of curved, not my favorite. Let's see if we got any more ribs. Boy, only 2 racks to choose from here. We're gonna have to hit another Walmart, but what we're gonna do is while we're here, we're gonna look at the butts, see if we can find some money muscles. So, see this one? Look how short that money muscle is. It's kind of small. It's got a real nice profile there on it, but that one's not going to work for us. We're going to put that back. Here's another one. That's a little more competition worthy, but there's a good fat seam in that money muscle. It's going to make it kind of strange, so we're going to pass on that as well. Boy, the profile on that one, you can't even see a money muscle. That isn't going to work. Let's keep digging and see what we can find here. No, not going to do it here. I'm going to keep digging in there and see what we can find. Let's see, I think there's one more butt. No, that's a picnic. So, it is a bust here at our first Walmart. There's nothing that we can use, I don't think, at comp. A lot of baby back ribs. But we've got a few things we need for comp, so we're going to gather those up, and we're going to head off to another Walmart, see what we can find, all right? We'll be back in a little bit, all right? Thanks. Second Walmart here. There's several ribs to choose from. These are all the full spares. We cut these down to St. Louis, but let's look and see what we can find. First thing I'm going to look for is some marbling. This one's fairly well marbled in here, but I also want really thick. Boy, that's a nice thick rack there. Not quite as marbled as I'd necessarily like. Here's some. Boy, those are nice and well marbled. I'm looking for that right here. You can see these will probably work to cook. They're trimmed down pretty heavily, but I think those will work. I think we can take those with us. There's some good marbling in those too. These aren't the most marbled ribs I've seen. Boy, these ones look pretty well marbled though. Let's see what we got here. Nice and thick. I'm gonna try to look for straight bones on the back here. Those are a little curvy. I'm gonna leave those. Let's see what else we can find. Boy, again, these salmon creeks are always really well marbled, but just too thin, really. It's a nice rack. It's pretty thick. Yeah, maybe we should cook these up today. What do you think? Look how marbled those are. Got a shiner here, but it's not gonna be for comp. Why don't we cook these up as well? Cook them side by side. Let's see what else we got going back here. Some more Smithfields. All right, here we go. A little curvy on the bones. I am really looking for thickness and marbling. Straight bones. I don't love any of those. See, like, this is so much more marbled here in this Smithfield rack here, but it's kind of small. Fairly thick, though. Those could work. Let's look at these St. Louis cut ones. As long as these St. Louis cut ones are thick enough, I'm happy. Those are pretty marbled. Boy, that first rack was pretty marbled too, though. Just hard to tell what's going on in this rack. It's definitely thicker. All right, well, I'm gonna pull out some of my comp ribs and show you guys what I'm taking to comp as well. But we're gonna grab a couple of these and get them cooked. So let's, that's the thickest one. Pretty straight bones. Let's take that and this one, throw them in. Now let's look at the pork butts. I'm gonna try to keep their meat section from being all blown up here. So I'll put it back together nicely. See, you can see that money muscle right here on the side. That's how you know you're gonna get a nice round one. And that's a little smaller than some, but boy, it's nice and round on that side. It's gonna make perfect little medallions. I think we can throw that one in. Let's keep looking here. See, you don't have anything on the side of that one there that's nice and round, a big fat seam going through it. It looks pretty impressive from the side, from the front. The side here, it's not gonna work for us. So we're gonna put that off to the side, keep looking. Another one looks really impressive here on the front, but when you turn to the profile, how are you gonna make a nice money muscle slice out of that? It ain't gonna work. So let's keep looking. Same thing here. Same here. Got a good selection of them here. Again, pretty impressive on the front. Side, this isn't working. Once again, fairly impressive on the front, but it isn't gonna work. Okay, here's one that could. A little twisted in the cryo here. You turn to the side, you've got a pretty decent side profile there, but I still don't think I'm gonna take that one with us. Gotta be really picky on these pork butts and all your competition meat, really. Let's keep digging. Look, that one's just chopped. See, that doesn't work. We need a nice big money muscle. We're gonna leave that. A couple more, again, chopped. Yet again, chopped really small. See, none of that's gonna work. Decent. In a pinch, we could probably use this. Let's compare that to the one we've got. All right. This one's a little bigger, maybe a little less round. Both about the same length. I'd say this one's a little plumper. I like the marbling on this one better. So we're just gonna take one with us today. I've already got most of the meat we need for comp, so I'm gonna try to rearrange their case a little here, and we'll get back and show you how we trim this stuff up. Let's roll. We're at a third Walmart. Looking for thickness primarily. These are nice and thick, but boy, this St. Louis rack is good marbled, nice and thick. Look how straight those bones are. I think we're gonna take these with us. This is what we're gonna cook. best rack we can find here. So let's put some of these back. Let's roll with these right here. All right, thanks. All right, we're back from our Walmart run. We've got some ribs ready to cook. Again, just a couple comps ago, we had a perfect ribs, and we're gonna show you exactly what we do, how we pick our ribs, how we trim them. We've already been to Walmart, looked at what they had. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about why we selected these. We do cook Smithfield extra tenders at comp. That's what I've got here. I also have another rack of ribs. Man, these are so marbled. Just they're a local brand. We like to cook to eat. I'm just gonna cook those side by side, but at comp, I'm cooking the Smithfield ETs. I want a good thick rack of ribs on both sides. I want bones that are straight so I can make nice straight sliced ribs in that presentation box. And of course I'm looking for marbled, and these are nice and marbled. So we're gonna get after these and I'll show you how we trim them. So let's start with the Smithfields here. Gonna grab a paper towel. Got a nice sharp boning knife. We're gonna come along the back, trying not to get too much of that on my face. All right, set that to the side. Again, we're shooting in our new studio we're working on here. We've got some lighting rigs and whatnot. We're not quite ready to go, but I know you guys wanna see this video, so we're getting started before we've got it totally set. I think you guys will be impressed with the studio we've been putting together here. So, all right, I'm gonna cut that flap meat off. That's the first thing I'm gonna do so I can see what we've got going on here. All right, so at this end, you can see there's this double layer of meat here. You can cut that down, but it makes real thin ribs. So I'm just gonna cut the first 2 ribs right off, okay? Those are gone. We're not gonna turn those in anyway. I'm gonna come down here. Probably not gonna turn in most of these down here, but I want a few as tasters. So I'm gonna come in right there, cut that last little bit off. Nice and square like that. Okay, now the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take that rack, we're gonna see where those bones end, right about here, all right? And I'm gonna cut right at the edge of that bone, okay? You can see that there. I'm gonna cut those off nice and square like that, set that to the side. All right. Now that's trimmed down to size. So I'm gonna cut off a few little odds and end pieces here. That's trimmed down to size for comp. That's what I want. I'm gonna take a paper towel. I'm gonna come underneath the membrane here with that paper towel. Helps me hold on to that. All right. Got it all peeled up there. We're just gonna peel that right off. And now we've got our membrane pulled off. All right. That's all I'm gonna do the back side. Let's flip them over, move that paper towel that I was using to hold it steady. You can see it's a nice trimmed up rack of ribs. I actually have a couple shiners in this rack I couldn't see in the cryo. That's probably gonna ruin these for comp turn in. I've maybe got 1 or 2 ribs, but not 4 or 5 consecutive. That's okay. We're gonna cook these anyway, just so you guys can see what we're doing for comp ribs. That's really unfortunate. I was actually thinking about taking this rack to comp with us, but decided to go ahead and cook it, and I'm sure glad that we did. So one way to avoid that unexpected shiners or crooked bones or something like that is to trim your comp meat before you go. So I would open that cryo, I'd trim these down and have them ready to go, and I'll re-vacuum seal them, freeze them, and have them ready to take. That way you'll know exactly what's in that cryovac. See, I would not want those ribs at comp, but they'll be fine for home. So if you're gonna be serious about competitions and you wanna know what kind of meat you've got, go ahead and make sure you trim those ahead. That way you know what you've got before you get there. You're not surprised when you open that cryo. All right. So that's one rack of ribs ready to go. Now I'm gonna grab this other rack we got. These are again Salmon Creek Farms. You can only find them around here in the Northwest. I've seen them in Oregon and Utah and Washington a little bit, but they're out of Idaho. They're really marbled, but they're still not quite comp quality for me. They're all natural. I like eating them at home, but I'm gonna go ahead and trim that way. Set that to the side. Trim off these last 2 ribs. Once again, just like I did on the Smithfields. Set that off to the side. Could use a paper towel under these to hold them steady. Now this is a full spare rack instead of a St. Louis cut already. So there's a little more here to trim off along next to these bones, but I'm gonna find where those bones end. Once again,
Come right down on through. And just like on the last one, there's a bit of flat meat. We're gonna go ahead and take that off as well. All right, now it looks like these may have had the membrane pulled, or at least partially. So we'll see if we can get underneath anything, but I don't think so. Yeah, I think our membrane's already pulled here. There's maybe a little bit of it left on there, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave that. Yeah, just a little partial. Smithfields, you'll never see a rack like that. I mean, once in a blue moon will you see a membrane still on, or already removed. It's always still on. But here on these salmon creeks, every so often they're like that. All right, so that's ready to go. This one is so marbled, I might come in and take a little bit of that fat out here on top, just so our rub sticks nicely. You can see that there. Might square up that bit a little. Okay, those two racks are ready to go. These are a little long. I could maybe take one more rib off. I think I will. All right. These are ready to go. Let's get these seasoned up. So I'm gonna clear the board here just a little. Flip them over upside down. Take my gloves off. I'm gonna show you what we use to season these on our perfect ribs. So the first thing I wanna do is I like this Pito Heaven garlicky butter. You could use any sort of white rub you've got, but I like this Pito Heaven garlicky butter. I put a little nice rub of this on the back side. It's gonna be a real light coat, just real light like that, okay? We're gonna do that. And we're gonna come back with Blues Hog, bold and beefy. A lot of people using this on ribs now. I'm using this on the back side only. I want this to be the side that is facing the fire for most of the cook. So I want to go easy on the sugar, but I also want it to be heavy on the flavor because this is going to be the side that hits your tongue. So I'm going to do a nice medium coat of that, all right? Now we're going to come back with my go-to rubs. I love these Eat Barbecue rubs. Rod Gray did a great job on these. These are just, I mean, I could do a comp with nothing but these two rubs and that would get me through, but I'll use a lot more, of course, but if I had to, I could do it with these two rubs. So these are gonna be the backbone here. So we're gonna go a nice, pretty, medium heavy coat of the most powerful stuff first, okay? Just like that. And you'll notice I do different rubs on top and bottom. Okay, now I'm gonna come back with Zero to Hero. This is a sweet rub. Two other rubs that are really similar to these, I think, are Smokin' Guns Hot and Cimarron Ducks Sweet. I think those are almost interchangeable with these two rubs. You could use those if that's what you've got. Okay, now we're gonna either leave them upside down for a while or we're gonna come back and press that in so when I turn these over, it doesn't all fall off. Depends on how big of a hurry you're in here at home. At comp, I'm gonna start this about an hour before they've gotta go on the pit so I can let them sit for a while. But I just want to make sure that rub doesn't fall off when I flip these over. I want it to adhere nicely. So I'll often come back and press it in. You're not rubbing it in, you're just pressing it in. I use a paper towel. See, there's nothing hardly that came off of those ribs. Okay. And you could let that tack up for a while, 15 minutes until it's nice and moist so that when you flip that over, nothing goes away. But here, we're gonna just go ahead and flip them over. All right, now on the top side, it's a little bit different, all right? We're going to hit them with just a nice light coat, again, of the garlicky butter. Okay, we're not gonna do the bold and beefy this time. We're gonna come in with the most powerful stuff. Nice medium coat here. I don't want quite as much rub on the top as the back side because I want to get a nice bark set. If you got too much, the bark isn't going to set. So we're going to do a nice medium coat. We're going to come with the Zero to Hero again. Again, a good medium coat. Just about like that there. Okay, now for color and for a little bit of heat, I've got Dirty Bird Hot. And I'm just gonna make these a nice, even rub coating with that Dirty Bird Hot. So we've got a nice bright red. This is a really bright red rub. It's one of my favorites. If you don't want the heat, you can do Dirty Bird, but I like the little bit of heat. Okay, and that's how they're gonna be. That's all we're gonna do to those ribs before they go on the pit, except we're gonna let them sit here about 30 or 45 minutes till this tacks up nicely, till it starts to suck some of that moisture out of those ribs and make that rub and the meat kind of one thing, so there's not a separation between them. We'll show you how that looks here in about 30-45 minutes. We'll be back. We'll take a look. Back here, we've got our ribs. They've sat on the rub for 30 to 45 minutes here. This is what we're looking for. We want some moisture coming out of the top, so they glisten like that, and the rub is kind of adhered to the meat. These are ready to go onto the pit, so we're going to take them on over there. Let's go. All right, here we go. We got our pit fired up. We're about 300 degrees. We've got some oak, some hickory, and a little pecan on here. I'm gonna set those on and squish them together. We're gonna get the other set. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. We're gonna set these ones on as well. Same deal. Squish them together. We're gonna lower this lid. We're gonna come back in about 30 minutes. Maybe give them a turn. We'll look at the underside. We'll consider flipping those. See what they look like. All right. So we're gonna lower this lid and come back and see what we got in about a half hour. All right, we're back. We've got some rub setting on these. I like to try to knock off that little dark spot here when you get that coming out of those bones a little bit. One's gonna be a little harder, but you can come back later and fill that in with a little bit of rub, but they're ready to roll over. So we're gonna do that. Let's roll these over. Okay, pull off some of the little crispy things on the edge, drop them down in there. All right, those are ready to rock. Let's keep those cooking. All right, we popped these off the drum. They're looking good. This is how we want to see them. A nice mahogany outside. We want some of that fat to start rendering. They're ready to get wrapped. So what I'm gonna do first though is I've got gloves on with cotton gloves underneath. I'm gonna come in here and I want to release the bone from the meat. So I'm gonna grab you see what I'm doing here? Let's move that one out of the way. I'm touching the meat. On each side of the bone, I'm pushing. Okay, why are we doing this? It's because if you don't, sometimes the meat releases unevenly on different ribs. And then it'll make the rib all twist and turn, and you won't have nice, uniform pullback on those bones for your presentation box. So let's grab this one, do this too. See, we just squish just like that, see? Perfect. Okay, those are ready to go in the wrap. So I'm gonna take these gloves off. We're gonna prep some wrap stuff. All right, these can come off. Now, I need some foil. I'm gonna double wrap these. I don't want them to leak. So I need 4 pieces of foil for 2 racks of ribs. All right, there's 4 pieces of foil. Get that foil out of the way. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a stick of butter and unwrap this. I'm gonna plop it right down the middle. I'm gonna take my knife. I'm gonna cut that up. Pick the butter back up, stay there. Now, I'm gonna get some new gloves on. Okay, first thing I'm gonna lay down is some brown sugar. I like to use light brown cane sugar. It's gotta be cane sugar, not beet sugar. Cane sugar has fake molasses sprayed back on top. I like real cane sugar. We're gonna lay about maybe 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup down, okay? Gonna grab a couple pieces of that butter, set it right there. Gonna grab our 0 to hero rub, and come back with a little light layer like that. I'm gonna come in with some maple syrup. Not fake pancake syrup, real maple syrup. And the last thing that goes in the wrap is Simply Peach. It's in the refrigerator section. maybe a 1/4 cup. That's how it's gonna look. We're gonna take first rack of ribs, we're gonna lay it down, meat side down. We're gonna come back with a stick of butter, little brown sugar. Try to break up any of the big chunks. Little brown sugar again. More 0 to hero. Another ribbon of maple syrup. I'm about running out here. A little more of that. Oh, and I forgot one ingredient. So if you sit tight, I'll go grab it. And I forgot one of the most important ingredients in the rib wrap for these perfect ribs. It's Tennessee Red. Just put a little bit on top, and I usually put a little underneath, but that's all right. Put it on the side. All right, now I'm gonna wrap these up. What I like to do it is this. So bring the sides in and pinch. That way I make sure we don't have any gaps that it's leaking out of. I want all those seams to be on top. All right, there we go. Now we're ready to do the next one. So we'll start again. Brown sugar, 1/3 cup or so. Let's get a glove on here. A little bit of butter. Tennessee Red. Maple syrup. 0 to hero. Simply Peach. Maybe a 1/4 cup. And we take that meat side down and we'll repeat it on top. All right, we're back. We've had these ribs on about 45 minutes in the wrap. Every 15 minutes I rotated them. And now I'm gonna pull them off here. We're gonna check them and see if we think they're about done. A lot of people will do this with a Thermapen. Not me, I like to get in here with my hands. So I've got cotton gloves under latex. What I wanna do is turn them over, meat side up, and just feel them and see if they start to break. These are certainly done. Those are ready to go. You just gotta feel them. If you get a nice little break, the meat starts to break loose from that bone, you know they're ready to go. Let's take a peek at this rack. Got a little brown sugar on top here. All right. And these are ready to go too. You can just see it starting to break. Those are perfect. So it was about 45 minutes there in the wrap at 300 degrees. I'm gonna set these down. Put them right here. And I'm gonna get a cutting board. We're gonna slice these. We're gonna get them sauced and we're gonna get them back on the pit, set that sauce. We've got the ribs out on the cutting board here. I'm going to slice these before we sauce them. I wanna know what I'm gonna put in the box before I sauce them and stick them out on back out on the smoker. So we're gonna be really careful. I got them bone side up so I can see where those bones go. I'm gonna come right there, slice that one. Some really straight bones in this rack. These are gonna make some excellent ribs. I can tell they're jiggly. These are gonna be perfect ribs, that's for sure. All right, now, I'm not gonna use that end, that's a taster. I like those 3. I can probably get about 1 more out of here that's gonna be worth turning in, and that's all I want out of those. Maybe it's a little too wide. Just gonna cut a little more off there. There we go. These are tasters too. Take that piece out. Those 4 I like. So let's get the other rack. We'll move these to the side and we'll do the same thing here. Seem a little thin there, so I'm gonna hack those 2 off. We'll come in with that one, that one, that one, and that one. That makes 4 nice ribs there. These are gonna be tasters. Let's see where we're at here on doneness, on flavor. Yeah, those are cooked right. That's the Salmon Creek Farms rack. It's not as thick as I'd like. The Smithfield is definitely thicker. That end piece, I'll pull off from the bone like it's a little over, but on the end it will be. I'm okay with that. I'd come back here and try what we've got down here. That's perfect cook. All right, so for sauce, take these gloves off. I've got It's in a Blues Hog Champion bottle, but this is Heath Ryle's sweet sauce with some Tennessee Red. It's about 3 parts to 1 sweet Tennessee Red, a little bit of Blues Hog Champion blend mixed in after that, a few tablespoons. All right, we're gonna hit the backs. Clean up maybe some of these little pieces of char. We're gonna hit the backs, both racks. Just like that. Gonna get another glove on here. We're gonna come in and sauce between the bones a little. I'll get a brush in here. All right, so we're gonna sauce between those bones. All right, that's enough sauce there. Do the same thing on these. Now this is the time you can dial up your flavor if you feel like they're a little light on seasoning. These particular ribs I think are about perfect, so I'm not gonna put any finishing rub on them. Okay. Now, the bottoms are sauced, so I'm gonna put another glove on. And we're gonna roll these back over and figure out how we wanna present these before we get them back on the pit. So these are my big ones, but these ones are just laser straight. All right, so probably how I'm gonna do this box, and this is what I like to do if I can. I like to do 4 and 4. I want the bones to face that direction and this rack of bones to face right on top like that. That's how I like it. Now if I could, so I'll turn them this way so you can see how they'll look in the box. Now if I could, I would have another rack of ribs that's a little more equal thickness. You can see that's a little larger, the rack on the bottom than the top. Now, certainly that's better than vice versa. If I had a larger rack on top and a smaller one on bottom, it would look disproportionate. This works just fine, but that's about how I would turn them in. All right, so let's take those back off. Let's get the tops a little sauced. Okay. These ribs are dynamite too. They will impress your backyard friends. They will score well on the comp circuit, I promise. All right, maybe clean up some of the bones a little. Can't get a perfect score unless you get perfect presentation. So we'll set these aside. Get these on this pan. Pick off any little black specks. You've got to really treat this like it's a work of art, or else you're not getting a perfect score. You could really clean these bones up quite a bit more too. I'd come in here with my glove before turn in. Just peel off any little pieces of stuff on these bones. Make them nice and clean. All right. There's a little piece hanging off there I'd just like to hit with my knife. Gotta be really careful when you do chin-ups like this though. All right, that's good. Now we're gonna get these back on the smoker. We're gonna leave them for about 15 minutes, maybe just 10 even, just to get a little smoke. I might throw a little handful of pellets on the fire, and we'll get back, we'll plate them up the way we turn them in. All right, we'll be back. All right, we're back. These have been on the smoker for about 15 minutes, setting that sauce. I'm just gonna set these up one more time like I would in a box. Tuck these all into each other real nice. I'd probably touch the sauce up just a hair before going in the box, but I'm just gonna lay these on top. Try to get those positioned so there's no gaps between the individual ribs. All right, now, just gonna touch this up a little for the camera. Oop, sliding them around. All right, now that is what I would turn in, and that's what I turned in to get perfect ribs. They are St. Louis spares, cut down from spares. Smithfield extra tenders. You saw all the rubs we put on. You saw all the exact sauces we put on. That is the exact cook. No holds barred. Everything we do, I told you here,
That is the finished product. And I know if you turn those in on the comp circuit, you'll do well. I know if you cook them in your backyard, your friends and family will love them. Thanks for joining us on Crooked Pigs BBQ. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down in the comment section. Tell us what you want us to do next. We're happy to make a video. And as always, we're here to answer questions. If you have any questions about this particular cook or anything else barbecue related, shoot us a question, drop us a line. We're happy to answer, and find us on social media and do the same. Thank you.